How you guys doing? It's 514 Mystic from Bookie Bullies, and this is breaking down the books. Coming off of a day where we lost two plays into hockey, if you were following yesterday. So one was the Arizona Coyotes, who ended up blowing. These guys came roaring back from a 3-0 deficit in the third period alone, and ended up winning in shootout. And then you have the other side where we ended up having a team, the minus 1.5 on the Colorado Avalanche, who allowed a team to score like 4 goals on them in the third period. So, well, it was really three, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. So, anyways, it was a pretty good, day. Otherwise, and then the NBA pretty much swept the board aside from the Cleveland Cavaliers, who did not hit the over. Long story short, today we got a new slate, pretty long slate of the NHL, pretty short slate of the NBA. So we're gonna get right into it. In the NHL, there's the Chicago Blackhawks. Actually, no, you know what? I was going to skip over this game, but the Ottawa Senators versus the Calgary Flames. I like Ottawa in this game. There's a few factors. The first factor is that Calgary, they don't look as good as they once did. And historically, Ottawa typically beats Calgary anyways. But all that aside, Matt Murray is a better goalie than Rittich is. He has more wins. Rittich is 1-3-1. I don't think it matters too much that Matt Murray has the 9 L's on his resume when I say that he has more wins, because let's face it, Ottawa's the worst team in the league. But in this situation, they actually have more shots on goal. They average more shots on goal. They're actually top 5 in the league when it comes to that. And on the defensive end, Calgary is actually bottom 5 in the league when it comes to that. So balancing it out, I really believe that Ottawa's going to win this game. Like, you know what I mean? So I think it's a valuable pick. I like them as an underdog, and that'll be my first play. The next game is the Chicago Blackhawks versus the Blue Jackets. In that game, I would also want to skip over that, but I want to roll with the underdog in this situation too. Malcolm Subban is 2-1-1. Chicago has arguably one of the best players in the league. He's basically the NHL version of Bradley Beal. If Bradley Beal could make the playoffs, he'll probably be in the conversation for MVP. But unfortunately, he's not, because his team sucks. And in this situation, it's similar in that Chicago actually has a better record. They're fourth in Central, and Columbus is right below them. But in this situation, they're on a 2-game winning streak. Columbus lost their last ones, and they haven't been able to piece together a few victories in the same time. I honestly like this spot for Chicago, and I would go with them for the money line. You could also bet the over 5.5, but I'm gonna stray away from that, and I'll just roll with the money line for Chicago. Next, you got the Dallas Stars versus the Florida Panthers. You got Ottinger versus Bobrovsky. Bobrovsky is playing really well right now. Ottinger is actually confirmed. Is it Odinger? Anyways, he's confirmed at 2-0-3. Bobrovsky is going to be playing. I think Florida is going to win this game after getting blanked the other night. So it's I feel like they bounce back, but I'm not going to bet on this game. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have a play in this one. If anything, I like the over, but I don't have a play in this one. And next, we got the Carolina Hurricanes. They're playing versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay got McElhinney at net 1-1-0. The problem with Tampa Bay is that the numbers are not going to tell you everything about this team. So you see, what happens is they are like top 5 in the league when it comes to goals allowed. But it's because when they lose by so many goals. But they don't lose often. They don't lose very often at all. So that doesn't tell you the whole story. And it's not like when they're winning, they're not blowing teams out. They're typically blowing you out, fish out of water, flopping around. You don't know what to do because they have you in a trance. So with all that said, I think today it's easy money for Tampa Bay at the minus 1.5. Problem is, on the other side of that victory is James Reimer. James Reimer is a bad boy. He's 8-2. No overtime games. It's either a win or a lose. And this is why I like Tampa Bay at the minus 1.5. I think they have so much firepower, a lot of guys who could shoot the puck. None of these guys are injured. Like, you know, as what I'm seeing right now, nobody who actually matters as of right now is injured. So that's a big deal in this situation. Kucherov, actually, he's off, but we've been know that he's off. Noah Nielsen and Anton Nielsen is actually off. Sorry, Anders Nielsen is actually off with a concussion. But apart from that, everybody's pretty much in. And I like the minus 1.5 here. I hate to ride a team like Tampa Bay, who is often favored. But in this situation, at a minus 145 to win $100, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I like the minus 1.5. Now, Pittsburgh and Washington. This is the last time these guys are going to be seeing each other until like later on in the season. In this spot, Washington should probably win, but they're favorite. And I'm not a fan of the favorites, but at minus 110, basically $90 if you put up $100. Not a bad number. And again, like usually, usually in this situation, it would be like flipping a coin because they have a rivalry. Like, these two teams is basically Sid the Kid versus Alexander the Great and the Great Ape. You know what I mean? And it's hard to pick a winner when you're playing these guys. It's really like flipping a coin. It could go either way. But because it's the last time they're going to be seeing each other, I really feel like they're going to split the series, and Washington is ultimately going to win the game. Now, Vanacek is 7-4-3. Tristan Jarry's at net. He's expected. Both of these goalies are expected, so it could change at the last minute. But I'm going to check to see if injuries play a factor here. But it's the same old. So, yeah. It's all the same injuries, so honestly, it's Washington should win the game. I would expect nothing more than fireworks because, like I said, they're not going to be seeing each other again for at least until the end of the year, which is later towards May. So that's a big deal for both of these guys. I think they're gonna put up numbers. Give me the over a 6.5 bold prediction and the Capitals money line. Next, you got the Boston Bruins versus the New York Islanders. They have Varlamov at net. Boston got Halleck at net. This is going to be a close game. Boston lost the last time these guys played each other, which was last week. They lost in a 4-2 fashion. Unfortunately, I believe Halleck was the one who took that L too. I'm trying to keep the video under 10 minutes, so it was not Halak at net for that loss. So they get a chance to right a wrong. Boston is number 1 in the East. New York is 5th. And when it comes to goals, Boston is tied for 12th. About 3 goals a game. On the defensive end, New York doesn't allow a lot of goals. That's just analytics. Aside from the analytics, New York is a team. Styles make matchups, and I think this is going to be one of those games where it's not going to be as easy to break down as you guys would think. It's not as easy as Boston money line. This, and it's going to sound a lot like I like to give out underdogs, but that's not the case at all. New York has a really good chance to win this game because of the kind of they play the kind of game that Boston plays. And Boston's kryptonite is themselves. You know what I mean? And I don't know if I'm very clear when it comes to that. Boston is the kind of team who plays a physical, a fast-paced hockey. New York plays a physical, fast-paced hockey, and they know their identity. Both of these teams know their identity. And I think it's going to be a crazy game. Give me the over 5.0 in this game. I like New York, but I'd stay away from that. Unless you guys could get, if Boston scores early and you really believe New York Islanders are going to win this game, you could always bank on them during the in-play. But I like the over 5.0, especially at the number that it's at. Yes, it's crazy because both these, first of all, one team's allowing 3 goals a game, the other one is allowing 2.86, so it should be right under 5.5. So already that tells me something. It's supposed to be at 5.5 and they have it at 5.0. And again, one goalie, which is Halak, is allowing under 2 goals a game. And you got Varlamov, who's allowing 2 goals a game. So that's pretty much 4. So you average out the 4 with the 5.5, and now you're at 4.5. Now 4.5 is not 5. So it's either the game is supposed to go under that 5, which statistically or analytically it would, or the game is going to go over because it has nothing to do with analytics. You just throw that shit out of the way, into the garbage, because yesterday you have one of the Vezina trophies contenders in Grubauer, which is one of the best performing goalies in the league, who allowed 6 goals on him. So these things could happen. Okay, you never bank on the numbers themselves. You know, and this is the part of the season, a month in, 2 months in. This is the part of the season where things start to get freaky and bad things start to happen and people start to average out the numbers that they're supposed to average out. I spent a little bit too much time capping this one game, but I hope it gave you guys a little bit of insight as to why I have the over 5.0 and not just talking out my ass. Next, you got the Devils versus the Sabres. Going to skip out on that game. Then you got the Predators versus the Red Wings. I would skip out on that game if I were you guys too. Predators are favorite I like Thomas Greiss, although he's 110-3, worst goalie in the league as far as wins goes. And but I can't bet on the Nashville Predators. I just can't. They're not paying enough money. Pecorini is at net, who's a really good goalie, and I would love to pick the under because Thomas Greiss is he's a product of Barry Trotz, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to stay away from that game. Next, we got the Montreal Canadiens versus the Winnipeg Jets. Two teams who actually basically switch spots in their rankings in their respective divisions. They're in the same division, North now. Montreal has Carey Price at net. Their favorite, Winnipeg, has Hellebuck at net, who are underdogs at home. I like Winnipeg in this situation because who the hell is Montreal? They just fired their coach. I don't think you guys are going to get it together on the road. Maybe you got to go home, see your family, see your kids, be happy. Maybe you get to see your girlfriend, quarantine a little bit. But I don't think that they get it right today. I'm sorry. I think today is easily a Winnipeg Jets, not only money line, but minus 1.5. So give me the Jets, minus 1.5. I'll live with the results. I'll take my L, but I'll live with the results. Next, you got the Edmonton Oilers versus the Vancouver Canucks. Two teams. Honestly, the West, haven't been able to watch the West too much. But the last time I wanted to bet on Vancouver, they went up early. They scored three. They were up 3-1, I believe, and they ended up losing the game to the same Edmonton team. I think that they should have a comeback victory. They should come back with some kind of firepower. But hey, let's see if it happens. As underdogs, it's probably worth it. But me personally, I'll skip out on that game also. But just a hint, an inside scoop. I might end up putting them in a parlay. If I'm feeling ballsy towards the end of the night after making bank. So going back to the top, we got the Ottawa Senators money line. You got the Chicago Blackhawks money line. We got the Tampa Bay Lightning minus 1.5. The Washington Capitals money line. The over 6.5 in that game. We got the over 5.0 in Boston versus New York. We got the Winnipeg Jets and a lean on the Vancouver Canucks. Now we're going to get into the NBA. Not too many games. You got 6 games tonight. 6 games tonight, indeed. Dallas Mavericks, they're going to be playing against the 76ers. 76ers are 5.0 favorites against the Mavericks. Let's see if there's any injuries going on in this game. Aside from Seth Curry, who's probably going to be playing. Maxi Kleber is a game-time decision. Porzingis also. All three of these guys are going to be game-time decisions. The 2 for Dallas and the 1 for Philly. Philly, they cover spreads at home. 228.5 is the total. They also play defense. But I think this game goes over. So give me the over 228.5 in that one. Brooklyn Nets versus versus Orlando Magic. Orlando is hella riddled with injuries. And KD's still out. Jeff Green is a game time decision, and so is Landry Shamet. So Aaron Gordon's out for Orlando. And that's pretty much it. So 8.5 is the spread for Brooklyn. That's kind of a lot of points. 228 is you know what? I'm gonna go with the under for a change. Brooklyn's been getting a lot of unders. Maybe it changes now that they're at home. They're gonna put on a show for their team. They're actually gonna be playing in front of a crowd for the first time. So maybe they come out with firepower and they cover. But they're not a very good team at the spread. So I'm not gonna put the cover. I do like the under 228. Let's see if they play some defense for the crowds. Next, we got the Sacramento Kings versus the Knicks. That's a pick'em. If I had to pick one in a pick'em, I would pick the Knicks. The Knicks just play defense. The Sacramento Kings don't. One team plays with defense, one plays with offense. The Knicks are also going to be, they also have an identity. I'm not convinced that Sacramento has one. 225 is the total. I also like the under in that game. But depending on which Knicks we see, it could easily go over. But I like the under in that game also. Next, we got the Clippers versus the Memphis Grizzlies. 8.0 is the spread. Injuries are Pat Patterson, who's out. And that's all that matters. For Memphis, we got Dylan Brooks, who's a game-time decision, and Josh Jackson, who's still out with the knee injury. Last time these two teams seen each other, you had the Clippers, who blew them out by like 30 points. I think the Clippers should be able to handle business with or without injuries. Give me the Clippers minus 8.0. And the under 226.0. Next, you got the Washington Wizards versus the Denver Nuggets. Denver's 8.0 favorite. Denver just won a game after like being, okay, you know what? Let's just put it in perspective. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. So in their last 10, they haven't been overly impressive, let's just say. So they blew 2 games to Washington. They blew 2 games. 1 game to Washington, 1 game to Boston. They beat LA in the game where AD went down. They beat OKC by 2 points, barely covered that spread. The last game that they won in decisive fashion was against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They blew them out. And in Cleveland's defense, they were injured. They're not that good. They had no big man to contain. They've been resting Drummond, and they have no big man to contain Jokic. So that's their defense for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But they blew games to Atlanta. They've been losing a lot. A lot of teams have been losing to Atlanta, and Portland obviously covered this. All that to say, the Washington Wizards, they were actually on a really good streak. They were 6-4 in their last 10, and the last time they lost, it was versus the Clippers. They were on a really good win streak since then. They beat Boston, Houston, Denver, Portland, the Lakers without AD, obviously, and they lost to the Clippers, who are on a mission right now. Give me the plus 8.0 for the Washington Wizards. I think this game is going to be a close one. And I think the game's going to go over the 237, but I'm not going to pick that because it's kind of a lot of points. Last but not least is the Bucks versus the Pelicans. You got bad boy Zion Williamson and one of the best youngins in the league in Brandon Ingram. And pretty much a young team playing against the Bucks. The Bucks, they've covered their last 3 games. So they're on a 3-game win streak. They covered the last 3. Not only did they cover, they've been blowing these teams out. They beat OKC by 13, but like I told you guys before, OKC is a tough out for anybody. They haven't lost since the embarrassing loss to the Raptors last week. All that to say, the Bucks should cover, but I don't like them numbers. 243.0 is the total, kind of a lot. I would say the game is going to go under. I would. Only because I think the Bucks going to play some defense. But what tells me that they are going to play defense? The last time they played teams, every single one of those games, at the exception of OKC, went over that 146. So why would I put the under? Well, I won't. So that's pretty much it for me. Anyways, let's give you the rundown before I leave you. But again, I'd love you guys to go ahead and smash that like button, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're posted anytime I post videos like these. So starting from the top, we got the Philadelphia 76ers and the Mavericks under 228.5. Got the over 228.5. Got the Brooklyn Nets over 228.0. Got the New York Knicks money line and the under 225. The New York Knicks money line. Got the Clippers minus 8.0 and the under 226. Got the Washington Wizards plus 8.0, and that's pretty much it. So I'll tell you, like I tell you all the time, please do not bet what you can't afford to lose. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So on that note, be safe, be good, and I'll see you again next time. Peace.